Kids do some huge deals.
I call the May 11th, 2026 Mexico City Council meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Hay.
Yes.
Fink. Miller.
Yes.
Ray.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Approval minutes.
Move we approve the minutes of the regular meeting of April 27th.
Second.
Hay.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Ray.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
New business, bill number 2026-22, an ordinance authorizing city manager to execute an agreement with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission. Mr. Slagle.
Yes, Your Honor. The Missouri Department of Transportation is planning for some sidewalk reconstruction, pavement resurfacing, signal updates within the community on state routes. And a number of those state routes are actually owned by the city. And so they need our permission to proceed with the project. To cover the details of what they're asking in the project, Drew Wilford.
Well, good evening, Council. Bruce covered the majority of it, in all honesty. This is somewhat of a formality. Department of Transportation is requesting use of our right-of-ways. We have some urban agreements in place right now where we allow the state to operate a surface, we'll call it, where they can transport and use it as a state route over city-owned land. A couple of examples might be Missouri 15, Highway 22, going west out of town. For example, on 22, our land actually is from Muldrow all the way out to Singleton. We own that, and therefore the state has to have an agreement with us. We have a few of those locations throughout town, and so they have compiled an agreement that essentially lays out whose responsibility is what when all of this work does come to pass. Magruder was awarded the contract, and they are planning to start work, it's likely in the next couple months. That, I believe, may have been in the recent council update, and everything seems like it's moving forward in a very positive direction. This is something that many citizens and the city staff have been looking forward to, and I think we're looking at a very large project just here in Mexico alone for both ADA improvements and resurfacing. We did review the agreement. I did have a few different concerns on the agreement. Those have been addressed by email and alteration of the agreement, so at this point we see no reason not to pursue two readings, with title only, passage of the attached ordinance. An ordinance is requested by MoDOT.
I move for reading of bill number 2026-22.
Second.
Hay.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Ray.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Bill number 2026-22, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with the Missouri Highway and Transportation Commission authorizing use of the city right-of-ways in support of transportation-related construction projects within the city. I move for the second reading.
Second.
Hay.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Ray.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Bill number 2026-22, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with the Missouri Highway and Transportation Commission authorizing use of city right-of-ways in support of transportation-related construction projects within the city limits. I move for passage of Bill 2026-22.
Second.
Hay.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes?
Ray.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Bill number 2026-23, an ordinance approving the Park Place sketch plan final plat. Mr. Slagle.
Yes, Your Honor, this is a subdivision up off of Mars Street, just east of Berkshire State Apartments. It was up kind of by the Veterans Home. And to cover the details of the plat, once again, Drew Wilford.
Well, Council, what you have on the screen before you is the subdivision plat as it is now. This subdivision creates 6 tracts, covers 2.42 approximately acres, and is located in an R3A multiple family dwelling zoning. I believe the developer is looking at placing single-family homes in this area. And what they're proposing is 5 buildable lots. So I mentioned 6 lots. So that 6th lot is on the far west side. It's hard to see on the screen there. That 6th lot is landlocked. So we have requested the plat be made conditionally non-buildable if one of the adjacent property owners is interested in purchasing that lot. For example, there are talks going on with Berkshire Estates to purchase it. If they were to purchase it, it would become buildable, as that would add to their contiguous property that is not landlocked. So if it stays as is though, and you have an owner of Lot 5 and Berkshire doesn't buy it, and someone else were to buy it, they cannot build on it. So that's the conditional statement that you may see in there. The owner is, Timothy Furlong. The surveyor on the project is Bresh and Associates. Engineering did complete a review on the submitted sketch plan and final plat. This is viewed as a sketch plan and final plat combo. This meets all the criteria for a final plat because there's no improvements planned. So no need for constructing any kind of infrastructure, no new sewer, public sewer, no new public water, any of that. They found a really good area here, which is more or less an infill lot that already has all infrastructure located on site. So we presented this to the Planning and Zoning Commission at their May 5th meeting just last week, and they provided a recommendation to move forward. And so staff would also recommend the council proceed with 2 readings by title only passage of the attached ordinance approving Park Place subdivision. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
I'll move for reading of bill number 2026-23.
Second.
Pate,
Yes.
Fink,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Bill number 2026-23, an ordinance approving the Park Place sketch plan, final plat to the City of Mexico, Missouri. I move for the second reading.
Second.
Pate,
Yes.
Fink,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Read it.
Oh, read it again?
Didn't say passage.
Thank you. Oh, then passage. Thank you. Bill number 2026-23, an ordinance approving the Park Place sketch plan, final plat to the City of Mexico, Missouri. I move for passage.
Second.
Pate,
Yes.
Fink,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Okay, on to resolutions. Bill number 2026-24, resolution authorizing city manager to sign contract documents with Flowmaster Construction LLC. Mr. Slagle.
Yes, sir. This is for the project for the Huntingfield Teal Lake intersection and for the Tyrone Loop Park entrance off of the boulevard, and to cover the bids received and the recommendation. Drew Wolf.
Council, we combined these 2 projects into one with the premise that both of them individually are quite small. Combined, we hope to get some decent pricing on it. We did advertise the projects in several ways, including the ledger, the website, social media, and a list of potential bidders. And we held a bid opening on April 29th of this year. Flowmaster Construction out of Mexico, Missouri was the only and solitary bid for the project. They provided a bid that included base bid, add alternate A, and add alternate B, and I'll go over that here. We segmented the project into several parts. Huntingfield and Teal Lake as a base bid, and their cost came back at $78,944. The engineer estimate for that was $75,000. Then for Teron Lou, we came back with 3 different segments, just in case prices came back higher than our budget anticipated, higher than our estimate anticipated. And it did in this case. So our base bid came back at $52,125. The add alternate A base bid is for concrete that gets you into the park, the approach, we'll call it. The add alternate A gets us the rock that's needed in order to get from that concrete approach all the way to where a future parking lot is planned, and includes rocking the parking lot. And then add alternate B is where we get a 2-inch asphalt cap that would provide a hard surface for drivability. That add alternate B came back at $28,796. So together, when we look at this, we have $75,000 budgeted for the Huntingfield and Teal Lake project in our capital improvement sales tax fund. And then we have $81,000. I'm sorry, excuse me here. We have $81,000 budgeted for the Teron Lou Park entrance. We are recommending that we accept the base bid for that $52,000 and change. And then through savings in other line items, we have been able to come up with the money to accept the add alternate A, which will get us the gravel for the drive and the gravel for the parking lot. And if we accept those 2 together, we come out with a total cost of, and I'm sorry, those 2 plus the Huntingfield, total cost of $186,149. And the benefit here is when we reject the add alternate B, we'll just include that in our large asphalt project next year. So you'll see that in an asphalt project next year. It'll get included. We'll have a large project. We should get some really good unit pricing out of all of that. So that would be our train of thought. The budget does support moving forward with these I should say this project. They're really two different projects and they come out of two different line items. And so we recommend awarding the bid to the solitary bidder, Flowmaster Construction, at a total cost of $186,149. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
What's the chance the asphalt will be more in the future?
You know, that's a good question with the oil and everything else that's up for discussion. I would sure hope by next year we see the prices drop compared to what it is right now, but that's not a guarantee. So that's a valid question. What we had to look at was kind of where the budget's at right now, and can we afford another $28,000? We couldn't easily figure that part out. There was no great way to pull another almost $30,000 out. We're already pulling in order to cover that difference from $81,000 to I think about $107,000 roughly speaking to come up with that money.
So how fast will it be asphalted when we go into next year's projects? Like,
We normally bid out the project in January. Asphalt normally plans to open until April, so
Okay.
you'd probably be looking at May is what I'm going to guess.
May of '27?
Yeah.
Okay.
The other point that I made with Drew on this project too is that because we are on what you might call virgin soil, by getting the rock in now, so you go through a freeze thaw and compaction and so on before you put the asphalt, is not a bad thing anyway.
No, well, that's what I'm saying. Oil seems to be having a good day. And so, I mean, is it going to have a good day a year from now? And so, I mean, I guess we can't really speculate on that, but I'd much rather pay $28,000 than $38,000. So, but yeah, that's fine. I get it. So, pleasure of the council.
I move for reading of bill number 2026-24.
Second.
Pate,
Yes.
Fink,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Briggs,
Bill number 2026-24, a resolution authorizing city manager to sign contract documents with Flowmaster Construction LLC for the 2026 Hunting Field, Teal Lake intersection and Teron Lou Park entrance project. I move for passage of bill 2026-24.
Second.
Pate,
Yes.
Fink,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Bill number 2026-25, resolution authorizing city manager to accept temporary construction easements for Muldrow Phase 3 sidewalk improvement projects. Mr. Slagle.
Yes, Sean, this is the next phase of the construction of sidewalks, and we need some room to complete the project and to cover the details. Once again, Drew?
Well, council is likely familiar with acquiring easements over the last couple of years. We've had a lot of them pass through here, and this is no different. So we have 19 temporary construction easements that are required to proceed with construction on Muldrow. So this is phase 3 of Muldrow. This is the last section along Muldrow that is part of this particular section of grants. This will complete that work. We have from Jackson, where we started, to Quisenberry, and then Quisenberry to Buchanan, then now Buchanan to Boulevard are the three locations. So this would authorize us to accept 19 easements. We still are missing a few. We've worked with the engineer in order to minimize the amount of work that's needed, so we no longer need those other easements. As part of our standard operating procedures for this grant, we're required to accept these by resolution and then present them to MoDOT. So we're recommending that we proceed with reading by title only, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
I move for reading of bill number 2020. Do you have a question?
No.
Okay, 2026-25.
Second.
Pate,
Yes.
Fink,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Bill number 2026-25, a resolution authorizing city manager to accept temporary construction easements for the Muldrow Phase 3 sidewalk improvement project, TAP 4400-313. I move for passage of bill number 2026-25.
Second.
Pate,
Yes.
Fink,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Bill number 2026-26, a resolution authorizing city manager to sign change order number 2 with Rad Baker Construction LLC. Mr. Slagle.
Yes, Your Honor. If you live in the area, you will know that construction has started with the milling up on North Kentucky, and asphalt will be going down this week. And as a part of that, with a couple more streets to take advantage of why they're in town and the pricing, we'd like to take a look at and to cover the details of those streets. Earl.
Bruce hit the nail on the head. We've got 2 streets that we have been eyeing, it's on the radar right now for immediate need, or immediate attention, we should say. One is West Liberty Street between Muldrow and Morris, and then the other is actually by the library, Jackson Street between Clark and Muldrow. Those 2 streets have not been addressed with any treatment in my time here that I can recall, and both are in poor condition. If we don't do something, we're liable to stay very busy patching potholes throughout the winter. So we don't have enough work to just bid out a project and get good unit pricing back, going back to some of the cost discussion earlier with oil. So we asked for a change order for this particular project to look at Capital Paving, who's doing all the work out there in Kentucky today. While they're in town, they're also the contractor for Curtis Street. So while they're in town, though, for the Kentucky Street, we are asking them to perform extra work. So milling and overlay, 1.5 inches of pavement on both of those streets I mentioned beforehand. They provided a price of, through Rad Baker Construction, of $204,000 roughly dollars. They did include fiber reinforcement on that, so we're excluding that. That brings the project down to $190,575.90. The initial capital improvement sales tax fund has $650,000 for contracted maintenance work. And we're anticipating using that fund to cover overages with all the other ARPA stormwater projects. So we're anticipating about a $300,000 transfer out of that fund for covering those overages. And that leaves $350,000 for other contracted maintenance like this work and also crack and joint sealing. So there is sufficient money to move forward with executing this change order. I have talked to DNR. They still want to see the paperwork, but it will not be grant eligible. This is not at all tied to the stormwater grants, except for we have a contract on file that allows us to do a change order while the contractor is in town. So we'd recommend moving forward with authorizing change order 2 with reading title only for the resolution. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
What's the downside of electing to not go with the fiber reinforcement?
That is a fascinating question. I would love to discuss this in more detail. So we used fiber on a prior road, several actually, and it was a test. One of them was Promenade between Clark and Muldrow, so parallel to Jackson Street over there. It failed miserably, and I was very displeased. So it cracked within the first 3 months, and I've got pictures where those cracks are they're not that open. They're open, and fiber is supposed to, if you're familiar with concrete, they put fibers in concrete very frequently, and it ties everything together and gives it quite a bit of reinforcement. The theory is the same for asphalt, but it did not work that way. So what we're looking at is we have a different contractor with this work, and we're wondering if there was a problem with the actual. I don't know that there was a problem. What we're wondering, the theory is that the asphalt mix itself maybe didn't have enough oil in it, and so it was very brittle. So we're having fiber spec'd for Curtis. All of Curtis will have fiber. The same contractor is doing that that's doing Kentucky. Kentucky will be our test segment, does not have fiber. So this is part of the test. We're not using the same fiber as before either. We're using a different vendor. There's only 2 vendors on the market, so we're using that second vendor now to see. One of the things that I live by is let's try some of the new technologies that's out there, but I'm going to be willing to admit if it was a mistake and if it didn't work like it was advertised. So option 1 did not work on Promenade, so now we're trying option 2.
That was a great answer. Thank you.
Was the fiber used on Love Street, you said, or Promenade, was that a man-made fiber, or was it the other kind? the more hemp or whatever they use.
Oh, no, it's
It was a poly.
It's actually like Kevlar.
Kevlar.
What it's closest to, funny enough. Yep.
And then, so the new one on the test, the new test is Curtis Street, and it'll be
Very similar,
Kevlar,
but they have
different
different ways of applying it and different mixtures that hold it together. So the one we used had a wax coating, and it had 1,000 strands in one wax coating. They'd throw that in there, and then it would mix out into the asphalt. This, you actually have someone applying it without that wax coating. The difference in strand length is different too, so there's a few different things we're interested in testing.
Yeah.
I don't have the answers until hopefully about a year from now.
I looked it up. It's supposed to get you 3 or 5 years
Yeah,
extra.
Where people are seeing a real benefit is instead of, let's say, using a 2-inch asphalt lift and paying extra for asphalt, you can condense it down to 1.5 inches and get the same benefit out of that thickened asphalt, but you're not using as much. So in times of high oil price, these fibers are supposed to help.
Can you still run it through our regurgitating machine?
Yeah, the milling machine.
Yep.
Yeah. No problem there.
There you go.
I move for reading of, let's see what bill is this one?
26.
Bill number, 2020, 2026-26, is that where we are? Yes. Okay, all right. I move for first reading.
Second.
Reading.
Hay,
Yes.
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes. Bill number 2026-26, a resolution authorizing the city manager to sign change order number 2 with Brad Baker Construction LLC for the North Kentucky Street Stormwater Project, part of grant DNR-S-W-S45E73C59FEE. I move for passage.
Second.
Hay,
Yes.
Fee,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
All right. Bill number 2026-27, resolution authorizing city manager to sign task order number 1 with Horner and Schifrin to update wastewater treatment plant. Mr. Slagle.
Yes, Your Honor, as time goes on, we have to renew permits at the wastewater plant, and with those renewals comes changes. Sometimes of things that they can measure and sometimes of things they can't, but it's all part of the permitting process. And as that, we are required to make some adjustments and changes. So, as part of this is we are looking at Horner and Schifrin to review some of those things, to give us the ideas and plans on how we can prepare for those. So to cover the details, once again, Drew Miller.
So there's kind of 2 parts to this. One is updating some of the costs that the 2019 facility plan update created. As you know, costs have soared since prior to COVID, we'll say. So that is one part, to get a better handle for what we need to do to better estimate our budgets, excuse me. The other has to do with exactly what Bruce was mentioning, the change in a permit. So we have a new permit coming, we know about it, DNR has been very open about that. We don't have a time yet, but we know that that permit will include nutrient reduction and removal as part of the process. And so we're going to have to look at how do we comply with a whole new process that they are instituting at a plant that's not built for that. So this would be hiring Horner and Schifrin at a cost of $30,000 to $500 to complete both of those. Some of this is going to look at other plants and how they're doing it. There's a wide range of options. It could be very well that we end up with very little alterations. However, based on our conversations already, it could be that we have a major project in our hands. We're talking millions of dollars. We're not talking minor. So this is going to be one of the steps to make sure that we begin planning accordingly ahead. It may seem weird, it seems weird to me. We're in 2026 and we're talking about something that's not going to really hit to require compliance until 33, excuse me. Well, we're quite a ways out, but whenever we think of how much has to go into this, it's about time to start looking at it. So we're requesting to move forward, and we have budgeted for this. The 25-26 annual budget has $41,000 in there for engineering-related professional services. The cost, again, is $30,500. So we'd recommend proceeding with reading by title only and passage. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Do they stick with you all the way through the end if it turns into a millions of dollar project
They do, yes. So
for that same price,
they've been very good with
for the
us.
30,000? Or does
So-
it start to grow with them
No,
too?
so my apologies. So this is not looking at the ins and outs of a whole new plan. This is going to be looking at what types of options do we have. So it's not going to be looking at the details of designing a whole new plant. That one will be a lot more expensive if we get there. This is looking at the overall picture of the premise of, hey, you could add chemicals, that's one option. You could have a anaerobic process without oxygen, that's one process that could be involved. A mechanical process could be involved. Looking at those and putting some numbers to it, there's no real construction yet. This is just giving us that guiding light to say, which should we be aiming for as a city? And giving upper management the ability to say, wow, we can't afford this, or we've got to dramatically change something in order to afford this.
Am I reading this right?
Okay.
It's saying it's centering on nutrient removal, phosphorus, things that are generated by like fertilizers and things like that.
Absolutely.
So
Yep.
that's-
So phosphorus is the one key that is a requirement. The other that's out there that is specifically stated in the permit, but it's an option at the moment, and this is how these things go, it's an option at the moment, is nitrogen. So if we get into this, this is the big question, to be honest with you. When we get into this, when we know they put in phosphorus and an option of nitrogen, we know that's going to be not an option in not too long. Are we better designing the process to accommodate both at the same time and limit the costs here? Have a rebuild of the plant in 2030 and then another rebuild shortly thereafter, or just do it one time? That's one of the big questions that I don't know the answer to.
Those are not easy to take out of water, phosphates and nitrates.
Yes.
I move for reading Bill 2026-27.
Second.
Hay,
Yes.
Fink,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Bill number 2026-27, a resolution authorizing the city manager to sign task order number 1 with Horner and Schifrin to update the wastewater treatment plant facility plan. I move for passage of 2026-27.
Second.
Hay,
Yes.
Fink,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Bill number 2026-28, a resolution authorizing city manager to enter into an agreement with the Miss Missouri Scholarship Organization. Mr. Slagle.
Yes, Your Honor, this is for our annual appropriation out of the general fund for the Miss Missouri Scholarship Program. And to cover the details of the resolution, Vicki Dinky.
Good evening. This is just one of the outside agencies that the city gives support to. So they continue to give this support out of the general fund to promote tourism in Mexico to the Miss Missouri Scholarship Organization. The annual budget allows for this $10,000 for use by the organization, and again, has been providing this general fund support for many years at this $10,000 level since 2001. Of course, there was a little gap in there with COVID since they didn't host the pageant that year, but we are back to that same $10,000 appropriation, so we recommend that the city and the scholarship organization enter into an agreement to promote tourism and proceed with reading by title only and passage of the attached resolution. Any questions?
I'll move for reading of Bill number 2026-28.
Second.
Hay,
Yes.
Fink,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Bill number 2026-28, a resolution authorizing city manager to enter into an agreement with the Miss Missouri Scholarship Organization Incorporated to provide tourism activities for the city of Mexico, Missouri. I move for passage.
Second.
Hay,
Yes.
Fink,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Other business. Staff report approving the 2026 crack and joint sealing project with Sweetens Sealing Service. Mr. Slagle, that might be the best name ever.
Wait and see.
Yes, this is for our annual crack and joint sealing of our asphalt streets, and to cover the details of the continued contract, Revolver.
council may recall, we have a 3-year contract with Sweetens Sealing Services, and they're out of the St. Louis area, for contracted crack and joint seal work. We used to do this in-house, and we found that we actually get better pricing out of contracting the work. It's actually a pretty intensive process, but if you have the right equipment, you can do it very quickly and very well. But if you are not specialized, it's very difficult. So we have approached them with a request for looking at approximately 27,000 linear feet of pavement throughout the city, and they have provided a response, an estimate of $42,385.20. We did conduct a review of their performance from the prior year. Everything looked good, and we did, in that review, negotiate a new price per linear foot. That does include, that price includes a 30-cent per linear foot of street increase compared to the prior year, but we see no issue in regards to that being out of line in regards to everything else going on. This 3-year contract was done in March of '24, and so we have until March of '27 to be under contract. We'd recommend proceeding with authorizing the crack and joint seal work. This is the best bang for our buck as far as pavement maintenance goes. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
I move for the approval of the 2026 crack and joint sealing project by Sweeten Sealing Services for an estimated amount of $42,385.20.
Second.
Hay.
Yes.
Fink.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Briggs.
Another report, root treatment services for the sanitary sewer collection system. Mr. Slade?
Yes, Your Honor, this is a way that we help maintain the sanitary sewer system by trying to limit obstructions in the pipe that leads to backups due to the roots in the system, and to cover the recommendation for contract for this year's services. Once again, Bill.
Oh, we're looking at Duke's Root Control, and you may remember that name from the past. We have used them many times before, and they provide root control services and several other things that relate to sanitary sewers and the maintenance of them. So Duke's Root Control has performed this service very well in the past. We have reviewed their work. They even guarantee their work for a period of 3 years, and so they'll come back and treat something that if we find roots in that line that has been treated within that time, they'll come back at no charge to the city. We typically shoot for a $30,000 cost per year of allocation towards this treatment, and then we try to knock out portions of the city all at one time, so we stay on somewhat of a cyclical effect here. The 25-26 budget does reflect this in the other professional services line item of the wastewater operations fund, and this treatment works very well. We've had excellent success with it, and it's not a treatment that will simply kill everything. It will take out the root, but then a lot of times it'll leave the vegetation above it. So if you've got a tree that has root down in our sewer system, it'll kill that portion of the root, but that tree's not going to die. So it's a very, very good treatment. Very pleased with it. We'd recommend proceeding to authorize treatment here in the tune of $30,000. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
If we have a root in the line, does that compromise the pipe?
Absolutely can. Yeah, sometimes it won't, but absolutely it can.
So do they check for that, or do they just take it out? They're just looking at roots?
Yeah, right. They just
Okay.
treat it, and then, so we'll diagnose, we'll go through with our CCTV camera, that we now have 2 of, thanks to you all. We've been using both, and one broke not all that long ago, so having a backup's been very helpful. And we'll go through there, make our case of, hey, this line needs to be treated. They'll go treat it, and then we'll do a follow-up on it.
How many feet of line are they doing this time? Sorry, I missed it.
Well, we don't actually have that number for you. I apologize. So that's based on, if you go to one of the attachments there, this is, and I failed to mention this, this is a cooperative purchase agreement. We're using Buy Board, which we've used many times before. Instead of bidding the process, it allows us, if the contractor is a member, and we are, allows us to take their bid process and say that it has been competitively bid and use the numbers they provide. So for example, on a 8-inch pipe, their cost is $2.06 per linear foot.
Okay.
I move that we approve root treatment services for sanitary sewer collection from Duke Root Control for the sum of $30,000.
Second.
Hay.
Yes.
Fink.
Yes.
Duke Root, that's hard to say. Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Have some good names. All right, authorization purchase of a sign printer for the street department. Mr. Slagle?
Yeah, sure. This is for our printing of our street signs and to cover the details of the proposed printer that we have looked at. And once again,
So our street department maintains and actually fabricates all the signs in the city that you see. We do purchase some outright, but most of them are actually fabricated. So we have someone, if you're familiar with a Cricut, something that my wife enjoys a lot of, that's where a machine that allows you to cut vinyl, you weed it out, and you place it on whatever you're making. Well, the same exact process is used for street signs. The process has changed a lot over the years, though. So now we have the option of printing, just like your printer at home. We can now do multiple colors, and you can see where this process would get very labor intensive. Whenever we have someone in our street division working on a sign that has 5 different colors, well, they have to do 5 different vinyl sheets and go through and weed out 5 different pieces of vinyl. So it gets very labor intensive. This allows us to now move forward with just printing it. And then you stick the whole thing on a sign blank and you're up and running. Great improvement to the process and how this technology has changed. The street division, in this case, has done a lot of research into different options. There's UV curing. There's sort of an eco-friendly solvent ink that is out there. There's several different things. They came to the conclusion, and I have too after reviewing it, that the Roland XG640 sign printer is the best option that meets the city's needs. It doesn't come with a lot of extra bells and whistles. It comes in under budget. It is easy to use, and actually one of the biggest issues we have is space. We just don't have enough space out there to accommodate some of the competitors that we have looked at. So we got an estimate from Schiller's out of St. Louis, Missouri for the Roland that I mentioned, coming in at $33,420.09. This does include some extra ink, includes a dryer and a laminator. And a laminator is a new improvement as well that we can now get 10 years plus out of our signs, looking more like 12 to 15 years. So we're looking forward to that, and we are required by the Federal Highway Administration to have a sign program in place. By having this now eliminates the need for an inspection as frequently because we know it looks like we're going to get 10 to 15 years out of that sign. So the budget for this fiscal year provided $50,000 for the purchase of a new sign printer. As you may recall, the budget in the street division did get a little changed because we ended up having to purchase a grader, which we don't have yet. We're getting there. Because of savings, though, from the street sweeper and from other line items, we do have enough money to cover the cost of purchasing the sign printer at that $33,420.09. So we would recommend we authorize, or council authorize, the purchase of the new sign printer from Schiller's at that cost, but subject to the successful final compliance testing and the dealer's ability to provide the equipment in a reasonable time frame. If you have any questions, be happy to answer.
I move for the purchase of the sign printer XG-640 from Schiller's for $33,420.09.
Second.
Hay,
Yes.
Fink,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Animal shelter acoustics. Mr. Slagle?
yeah, sure. Again, we have, if you've been at the animal shelter and you have a number of dogs in there barking, you hear how loud it can get, and it can be quite deafening. We have looked at soundproofing equipment many different times, and we think we finally have a solution. And Chad Hunreiner, Park and Rec Director, which is also our animal shelter manager, coordinator, has got a plan, and he's got a recommendation for you.
Last year is identified to improve the sound mitigation at the animal shelter, and so is identified in our capital outlay plan. And so we was able to find 2 people to submit bids on it, and we think we got a good plan in place for them to install as well. So both companies were willing to install. There was another one that we inquired with, but didn't receive a bid that wasn't going to install. So, but there's $35,000 in our capital outlay that was identified, and the bid came in at $14,707. So we would recommend that we approve GNS Architectural Products for the sound mitigation bid. One change that they did ask is it be installed by September 1st instead of August 1st, just because schools usually take precedence during the summer of trying to get everything in, so it may not be completed until through September, which is not a problem for us.
Will moisture be any problem for those panels?
No, one of the questions that was asked is, would they take the smell up over time? And the product that they're using will not. They said it's not a problem. They do a handful of animal shelters, and there was a couple in Missouri and a couple in Illinois. So
And you asked them, I guess, how they were getting along with it?
so everything has been well received so far.
Good.
I move for a purchase of animal shelter acoustics at the price of $14,707
Second.
from GS Architectural. Now,
Haig,
Yes.
Fink,
Yes.
Miller,
yes,
Gray,
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Discussion, May 25th, 2026 council meeting. Mr. Slagle?
The next meeting, Monday, May 25th, is Memorial Day. So, you want to meet Memorial Day, or do you want to do what we've done in the past, move it to Tuesday at the same time?
Are you barbecuing?
I move we move it to Tuesday, move our council meeting for May 25th to May 26th.
Second.
Haig,
Yes.
Fink,
Yes.
Miller,
yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
The claims.
Move to pay the claims.
Second.
Haig,
Yes.
Fink,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Council comments. Mrs. Briggs?
Well, they started on the big work on Kentucky today, and they're getting ready to lay down the asphalt, and it is a mess, and all of it are having to start, and wait behind stop signs, but I guess it only goes on for a day or so, and I'm sure everybody will be glad, and it looks really nice. They've done a nice job. They've worked hard, so glad to have that done.
Mr. Miller?
Well, on top of her asphalt, I'm pretty excited about the fact the state's going to come in and add asphalt some of these streets, highways, whatever you call it, go bumpity, bumpity, bump in Mexico, because they have been quite a source of conversation and many calls from people to say, why didn't the city fix these streets, which are not our streets? So that's a good deal for me.
Yes. Yes, that's the first thing. What street are you talking about?
Here's
Mr.
the
Ray?
state highway number, call them.
Yeah. Mr. Ray?
Yes, Mr. Williford, I have a question. The sign that that says no trucks on Lakeview, right there at Lakeview and 54, is there any way we can make that bigger? And can it be moved any closer to the highway? Is that allowable?
We actually talked to MoDOT, that's funny you bring that up. We talked to MoDOT about that whenever we close Fairground for the Lakeview project. We're going to make some alterations to all of that, and they said they'd be willing to put some signage up for us, most likely.
Okay.
On Clark, or Business 54 or 22, whatever you want to call it there.
Out there on 54?
Yeah.
Okay, because right now there's not, right?
Right.
There's zero there, just, okay.
So I was very pleased with that one. We'll just have to wait. We're not there yet. But we're looking at double signing at both sides and increasing the size of the sign.
Yeah.
Got there.
Good. I think that'll make a big difference for those drivers, because they're pulling up there and blocking traffic. If you're out there watching, which I have been on occasion because I work there, but and then the bypass, how's that going to, or the detour, how's that going to work with the traffic going out to the
Industrial Park.
industrial park? Yeah.
So we're going to notify the industrial park well ahead of time so they know, they can tell their drivers. And then number two, we actually are going to appropriately sign a true detour. So you'll see detour signs all throughout South Clark up to Boulevard and along Boulevard to get them to Elmwood, and then along Elmwood down to Lakeview.
Okay.
So you'll see detour signs there.
Very good. Think we can give like pamphlet or flyers to the factories out there so they can start handing them to the drivers? because there's a lot of repeat drivers, and that way they'll be,
Yeah, we can look
they can
into
tape
that.
it to their windshield.
We can look into all of that. As far as their own procedures, it'd be hard for me to comment on it.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, well, thank you very much.
Dr. Fink?
I don't have anything other than, sorry I was late.
There you go. Mr. Slagle?
Nothing at this time, Your Honor.
Good. Just heard some great comments over the Abbott, Kentucky, all that area, so all the exchanges, and someone said it made a huge difference with being able to turn on all those roads, having all those curbs and all that stuff, so that's good to hear. I know some people are, they complained in the first month, and I told them, why don't you give it like 6 or 7 and see how it is then, but, so it's good to hear some comments there, and so, school's coming to an end, graduation Friday, and so be a lot of excitement here getting into the summer, so hope everybody has a good start to that as well. So now we have public comments. If you wish to make a comment, come to the podium, state your name, address, and you have 3 minutes to make your comments.
Good evening, my name's Rich Gold, I live at 1010 East Liberty Street. I was going to get up here and just kind of poke you guys because I'm really still frustrated about this tourism thing, and I decided not to. I have a report that I would like to submit to you guys that details everything that I found on the tourism, and I hope you guys accept that. The app is not tourism. It never was. And it's a community calendar, and it is a Chamber of Commerce recruiting tool. We shouldn't use taxpayer dollars to fund the app. I brought this up to city employees before you guys voted, and they didn't tell you. You should declare that vote void. I'm raising these serious concerns tonight because you guys didn't listen to me last time. I've been unable to find any state law or city ordinance that authorizes us to collect tourism tax. I read 28 tourism laws for the state of Missouri, and not one of them allows us to collect tourism tax. We do not fit in those, and that's in this report. Two, there were some ethical issues about the vote. It's also in the report. I created things for the Missouri Ethics Commission, the Missouri Attorney General, and the Missouri State Auditor, and to show my findings, but I'd like to give you guys an opportunity to look at it and then answer it. Because in the Navy, they said keep it at the lowest level possible. Lastly, I'd like to serious concerns about the culture that you guys have allowed. Me being a commission for the tourism, I can't even get up and talk to you unless it's in public comment. That's what I was told by the city manager. I was threatened by him, saying he was going to remove me. I'm a 20-year veteran. I've lived in this community for 9 years. I came here because I bought a business, and I thought this was the community for me. And to have a city employee threaten me is not acceptable. And you guys are the direct reflection of that. I'm a reasonable man. I believe in this community. I believe in the law. So tonight I'm giving the council 2 weeks to respond to this. If you guys don't want to, that's your decision. That's all up to you guys. I've wrote it up. I think it's satisfactory. I'm not going to submit it unless I have to. I'm not here to cause trouble. I'm here because the voters deserve a tourism commission chair who does his job, even when it's uncomfortable, even when he is threatened for it, even if you want to change. If you guys want to change the ordinances, change them. You guys have the power. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I would like to submit this.
Anyone else? Not seeing anybody else?
Move we adjourn.
Second?
Hay,
Yes.
Fink. Miller.
Yes?
Gray.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.